Hello, I'm so happy that we have been together. We have worked together from first topic, and now let us wind up from full history by looking at the post-colonial Africa up to 2000. That is, after colonialism was over, after the countries in Africa got their independence. What was the situation in Africa? And what has been that is situation, and what were the challenges that they met, and what is the impact? Remember, at the end, if you can observe this now in history, I'll be telling you more in the interaction that we are going to have one-on-one. As you ask me the questions, I provide you some tips, whatever. One thing you have to know about the history, uh, you have to observe from book one, that is form one, is that usually at the end of each topic we say what has been the impact of such thing, on maybe the indigenous people, on something else. So usually the impact is the thing that we extract on history to say, all right, everything happened, so what? So that is the last question that we ask in history to say, after everything, so what? Yes, so we talk about the impact. So here we are going to look at a wonderful topic again, the very brief topic, very short, whereby we look at Africa after independence. Now, what happened after independence in Africa? So we are going to look at a number of issues, the challenges, and what are the impact of the challenges that Africa made in everything. So this is a wonderful topic. So let's be together. Let's wind up this from four work together, so that maybe if it is a review, you just pick up something else to say, now today let me study this topic, let me learn this topic, like that. But this one is the last topic. So let's just cruise through together in this wonderful topic. So let us look at the expectations. What were the expectations when Africans were fighting for their independence? What were they expecting to achieve after that independence? So Africans were subjected to oppressive policies during the colonial rule. You know, when you are subjected to some bad situations, and there is that hope that one day you are going to be released, then you have those expectations to say, one day, after I get my independence, or after I'm free, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, just as you are. Just as you are. You are in Form 4. You have that expectation to say, all right, myself, after my Form 4, after I get my 10 points, then it is straight polytechnic, straight Mzuni, straight medicine. Those are the expectations that you have to say, after my education, after my Form 4, I'm going to Chancellor College. I'm going to pursue medicine. I'm going to pursue law. Those are the expectations. So even Africans, they were fighting for independence while they had those expectations. So we are saying that during that colonial rule, they were subjected to bad colonial policies. So Africans were exposed to social, economic marginalization over half a century. When you talk of economic stability, Africans, they did not experience any economic stability. While the whites who were here, they were the ones who were enjoying. So that one, Africans, at independence, they expected a better and prosperous Africa that would be characterized by national unity, political and economic freedom under their own black-led government. So they expected that, no, these people akutipondereza kwambiri, akutidyera masuku pamutu, azungu akutibera ndarama, things like those. Now they were expecting that after independence, Africa will be very rich. because we'll be united as one. And in politics, we will do the national politics as the at a national level, and even the economy will be very free. Things, this money that the whites are stealing here, going out, it will remain here. How about that? It will remain here. Then all the Africans will be very rich. Will be driving in cars just as you see those whites driving those cars. So they had those high expectations at independence. That's why they were fighting tooth and nail. Others were even allowing to die, to say, let me die, but my people should be free, because we know that the people of Africa, they are going to enjoy economic status. So those were the expectations of the Africans at independence. Now, we have just mentioned of national unity. Now, let's explain or explore it further. During the pre-colonial era, the Africans were organized in monarchical states. Monarchical states. So when we talk of the monarchs, we talk of the pre-colonial kingdoms. Remember, they formed two ways. We looked at the Nkamanga, like in Malawi. We looked at the Nkamanga and the Nkamanga, Tumbuka, and the Maravi. In Form 1, we looked at a number of them, the Buganda, Mwenimutapa, Mali, and many others. So those were just monarchical states whereby Africans, they were organized in those in such a way. But during the partition of Africa, when now Africa was partitioned, now the Europeans were claiming for protectorates. So European power created states for their own convenience. So when the Europeans were claiming African countries under them, they created the boundaries that were to their convenience. When we talk of our own Malawi, the boundaries that we have. Who said that Malawi should start from Songwe up there, up to Nsanje there? Who said that? So you can see to it, they were the whites. They were just safeguarding their interest. So they were the ones who put the margins to say, oh, this area belongs to us. So what happened then? They did not mind about the diverse cultural groups or the African ethnic groups. They did not mind to say, all right, this is the area of the Tumbuka, this is the Chewa, area of the Chewa or the Ngonde, things like that. They did not mind about that. What they were protecting or safeguarding, they were just looking after their interest. So they just combined the people. So people of widely different languages, cultures were found together in new artificial states. So it was really strange, just as if we can look at the Ngoni, look at the Ngoni like in the Jere Ngoni. When they settled in Mzimba, they created their own country up to 1904 when they were put under the British protectorate. So look at it, the Ngoni, the Tonga, the Tumbuka, the Chewa, and many other tribes, all those who were at first they were regarding themselves to be independent of others, but now they were put together in what we call now the artificial states that were created by the colonial government. So such situation was bound to create challenges after independence, such as the language diversity. So such situation whereby most independent pre-colonial states, they were put together. Then after independence, then language diversity, to say, now which language do we say is a Malawian language? Is it Chichewa a Malawian language? Who said that? See that? Is it Tumbuka a Malawian language? Who said that? Is it Yao, Usena, or whatever? So language diversity became a challenge there to say, all right, which is the Malawian language, like that. So new states adopted the colonial masters language. So there then, uh, the colonial masters language became the official language. It was the language of administration and academics. So when countries were colonized, then they were forced to adopt the colonial masters language, like English. Here, now we are using English, but we have our own language. So in administration of the government, they were using the colonial masters language. In academics, they were also using the colonial masters language. So that one, a challenge again. So what happened was that very few Africans fluently spoke those colonial masters language to participate in government. So it happened that those who went to school, who attended the academic circles, they were the very few who were able to speak those languages. That is the colonial masters languages. We talk, for example, English. Very few were able to speak that English, but that English, it was regarded as the official language in the administration of the government. So this posed a very, very serious problem. So it was a very serious problem of administration to the territory. So how could now that the colonial government administer maybe the people in Chitipa who speak maybe Nyiha? They have never gone to school, but they are under the British, and the British, they have imposed the English as the official language. So how are the British going to administer Chitipa? How are they going to administer Sanje, where people speak Sena, and most of them maybe at that time they have never attended the academic circles or school. So administration was a problem in the territories. So therefore, colonial rules employed indirect rule. So that's where indirect rule came in, whereby uh, the use of local chiefs, they used the local chiefs to govern those territories. So it was like the government now, the colonial government gave power to the local chiefs to say, all right, administration of that territory is under you, but we are the administrators of the whole country. So that's where there is indirect rule. So the colonial masters then left Africa with the multi-party systems of government. So at independence, when most of the countries like in Africa, when they attained that independence, it happened that when they were moving out, for example, the British, like in Malawi, they were moving out, they left multi-party, they left a number of parties. Like it was so in different countries, or most of the countries, it was just like that. There were so many parties. But then, uh, political parties were more based on personal, ethnic, or regional origins of particular politicians than on economic ideologies. Now, this you must understand it very well. So at independence, we are saying that there were those political parties. So those political parties, basically, they had more power in the regions where the leader or the leaders of that party were coming from. So they were regional or parties or ethnic parties. So that was the major thing that was there. So scrambles were there, other than people to argue to say, all right, how do we develop this whole area that has been created by the colonial masters and now it has been left in our hands? It was found that those like we're looking at Kenya in the previous topic, to say when the KANU came into power, others were not happy still because it was like a regional, a Kikuyu party, and others they were like left behind. So with that, it was common in most of the African countries. Those leaders, they were not embarking on economic ideologies of developing all corners of those created countries. They were now focusing on uplifting the lives of maybe the people in their area or the people or the places where they came from. So much of the developmental agendas, they were taking place in the places where they were coming from. So that was a very, very big problem in most of the African countries. So it was a common thing in African countries. So after independence, After independence, there was inequitable distribution of development projects and the programs, just as mentioned, to say there was some sort of bias. People, those leaders, they were, most of the leaders, they were more developing the areas where they were coming from, unlike others. So soon after independence, then most African states adopted uh, uh, the single party states. So after independence now, it happened that most of the African states, then there was one party states. They changed from multi-party to one party. Then let's look at political freedom. Uh, Political freedom. We have looked at national unity. So unity was a problem there. We have seen to it. So at independence, on political freedom, at independence, most of the states, they advocated the need for national unity in order to achieve rapid socio-economic development. So there was that drive to say we need to have a national unity. You need to be united. So Africans expected that they would enjoy complete freedom and respect of human rights under their black leaders. So one of the major reasons why the Africans were fighting for the independence, or the majority, they were participating in the mass movements against the whites' rule. They expected that after they got that independence, they would now be very free. They would be very free, and they would experience that rapid socio-economic development, and they also expected that human rights would be respected. Because if you can remember, during those periods of the whites rule, they did not respect the human rights. So Africans, they expected, if we give power to our fellow black leaders, they are the fellow people whom we have grown together, then they know our problems, we are going to do it the same, or uh, at the same level. Unfortunately, the black leaders, they tended to be oppressive as the colonial rulers. So in most of the countries, not only in Malawi, but most of the countries, after they got that independence, then those black leaders, they tend to be very bad. They were so oppressive, just the same as those whites who were there before them. So freedom of speech and the press were all forgone issues. See? So these things after independence, they were not regarded at all. Most of the leaders, they tended to be oppressive. No freedom of speech, no freedom of press, like that. So after independence, most of the leaders, they became like dictators. So when we take, for example, in our country, Malawi, we talk of Kamusbanda, Dr. Kamusbanda. He ruled the country with that iron fist. He became a dictator. He was uh, he was not allowing that freedom of speech or freedom of press. There was nothing like that. So it was not only in Malawi, but also in other countries in Africa. Economic freedom at independence. Let's look at this one as well. So after many years of economic exploitation, Africans, they looked forward to economic freedom under their black regimes. So independence was regarded as the end of bondage, as the end of bondage. So economic freedom, uh, we mentioned these things when we were looking at how the Africans administered or how the British or the Europeans administered the areas where they declared independence. Most of them, they were exploiting Africans at their own benefit. So Africans were not benefiting at all during the colonial rule. So uh, Africans, most of the Africans, they were fighting for their freedom so that they should be free even economically. They should be able to do things, or if we talk of trade, they should be able to trade their own things after without any restrictions. We mentioned of of Kenya, if you can remember. They were restricted to grow coffee. And if they grow some of the crops, they go to the marketplace, they were offered very, very bad prices. So those things they did not want. So Africans, they were looking forward to their freedom economically. Now, let's look at the economic and political achievements. What are some of the socio-economic and political achievements after independence? So let's look at the political stability. That is number one. So one achievement that has been achieved after independence is the political stability. So during like the 21st century, that is the period that we are living now, Africa has achieved a remarkable degree of stability. This period around, there is a remarkable stability. So armed conflicts have now declined, not totally declined, but they not totally ended, but they have just declined, because today we hear in DRC, still they are there. In Sudan, we hear again in Nigeria and many other countries. But most of the countries, those civil wars, they are not there. So regional and continental groupings like the SADC, we also have the African Union, they continue to play a major role in the mediation or in disputes and peacekeeping in Africa. So there are those groupings, regional groupings. We talk of SADC like here in Southern Africa. So there is this organization, SADC, and then the African Union, they are there to take part in the issues that affect the Africans. They are there usually to maintain mediation, and again disputes. In disputes, they are there to mediate. And in peacekeeping missions, they are also there. In mediation, we can take, for example, Malawi is currently in disputes over the Lake Malawi with Tanzania. Now, those things, they are not solved just by Malawi and Tanzania. SADC has intervened. African Union is also there. So with that, we are expecting that such issues, they are going to end amicably without maybe the provocation of the war. So the groupings, these organizations that we have just mentioned, also take the leading role in monitoring or observing the elections or the electoral processes to ensure that there is free and fair elections. So usually, wherever in Africa, the African Union, wherever there is elections, they send their delegation to see what is happening there. So they are always respected, those people, to say they are there to ensure that there is free and fair elections. So by 2002, civil wars in Mozambique and Angola had come to an end after a close of 30 years of conflict. So those wars, the civil wars started just soon after independence. Then the civil wars broke. So for 30 years, they were those civil wars. But by 2002, thanks to those groupings or the organizations, they have tried to intervene, and there is no more civil war in Mozambique and as well as Angola. Another remarkable achievement is the economic growth. The economic growth is also another remarkable achievement that African states have also attained. So improved political stability has led to improved economy in many African countries. So where people are stable, they're able to think, to say, what should I do maybe to solve some of the problems that have been there for quite long. So with that, when people solve those problems, it means that they are improving the economy. So this has resulted in an increase in the foreign investment. So when in countries there is stability, you find that the foreign companies, they come and they open their businesses, big businesses. They are creating jobs and maybe also improving the living standards of people. So by 2011, many African countries had been ranked as among the fastest growing economies. So most of the African countries by 2011, they were ranked on those countries in the world that are growing so faster economically. So that one, it is the reason because there is stability. So where people are not stable, you cannot expect those things. They cannot happen at all. Another achievement is the improved agricultural production. Improved agricultural production. This one, it has improved as compared to the 1960s, where agricultural production, it was not all that good. So African countries, they have made concerted efforts towards achieving food security and end problems of hunger. So most of the African countries, they are really fighting tooth and nail each and every year to allocate a bigger amount of money to invest more on agriculture. That's why even our country here, whenever they are presenting the budget, you hear that they put a lot of money again in the agricultural sector. That's why we have that subsidy program. The aim is to combat the problem of hunger so that there is that improvement in agricultural production. Another achievement that Africa has attained after independence is the women empowerment. Women empowerment. So in 1990s, efforts to empower women were uh, there in countries or in African countries. They started around 1990s, whereby there were those efforts to empower women. So Southern Africa, for example, the SADC adopted the policy for its member states to achieve the 50-50 campaign for women in decision-making areas. So in SADC countries, they have vowed to say we are going to campaign for women to be there in decision-making positions. Decision-making positions, we talk of like members of parliament, where maybe in companies, the managers, the chief executive officers. This time around, you find that there are a number of companies out there in which you find that the woman is on top of that company. Or if not, in the top decision-making positions, you find that there are women. Again, in the government, the government is also trying as much as possible. When they are appointing members of parliament or the ministers, you find that still they or the president or whoever, they still put women there. So that is an aim of achieving 50-50, to say 50% men, 50% women in decision-making positions. So many African countries have moved towards electing female representatives into public offices. So in the public offices, we see women they are taking charge of the bigger decisions. Another achievement is the power transition. So Africa has also made a tremendous uh, uh, achievement or stride in power transition. So this one, it has reduced the conflicts on the continent. So power transition, it means, for example, when there is an election, another party has lost. Usually, before it was like when that party has lost, maybe it was in government, then it has lost the election. You find that they were causing the civil wars. They are starting the wars or instability in that country. But that one has proved tremendously, whereby we have heard, we have also experienced seeing the political party which was in government losing to another which was not there. And they transmit the power smoothly to the other party to continue ruling and people moving on without any stability. So there has been emergence of independent media to assist in the governance. So we have also seen the development of independent media. For example, here we are talking of the presence of like radio stations. We talk of the Zodiac, we talk of Times, and many other media stations. So those ones, they are helping in governance, whereby you find that when there is only the mainstream media, sometimes they just adopt the propaganda of the government, that twisted truth. They cannot tell the whole truth, where maybe the government or the political party in government, the ruling party, has blundered. You find that sometimes they don't say the whole truth. But with the presence of those independent media, they assist to say the whole truth, to say, this is what has happened. We have found out this one. We asked this one, hear what he said. We found this one, hear what he said. So they help in the issue of governance. Another achievement that Africa also has attained after independence or in the 21st century is the improved healthy services. So the average life expectancy has improved despite the problem of HIV and AIDS. So despite the pandemic of HIV and AIDS, but the life expectancy, people now they live longer than before. That is to say, because now there are improved healthy services. Look at the people now, they are now getting healed of malaria. Well, in the years before, malaria was killing people just like a virus. Yeah. So improved health services. So in 1960, the average life expectancy was 42 years. But as of 2007, it has risen to 55 years. So there then, it shows really the improvement in healthy services, as well as the infant mortality rate. It has declined. Like 153 from 153 per 1,000 to 82. So that is a really tremendous improvement. Yeah. So another achievement again is the improved access to education. So in the 1960s, not many children were able to attend school during those periods. Very few attend school, and those people who went further with school, attending up to secondary, up to university, they were really highly respected people. So African countries, they stepped up the efforts to increase education opportunities. So today, it is even evident in our country here. Look, how many private schools do we have? So many. How many private universities do we have? So many. As such, it means each and every year, so many people are graduating with the degrees. How many colleges do we have? So many. So it means many people are attaining education, even vocational skills, they are also attaining them. So through the Education for All campaigns, other measures, average primary school enrollment has jumped from 58% in 1991 up to 77 in 2006. So even currently, it is even higher. So it means that people, they are retained in school. So students are retained in school. When they start school, most of them, they continue school up to the end. So even university enrollment has been expanded to accommodate more students. So university education, now and again we hear most of the countries, they are improving on that same university education.
Simutaya nthawi yanu kufunafuna maphunziro muzakhala wotumidwa moyo wanu wonse. ngati simuphunzira anthu azingokutumani ajala kalime ajala kuchwe manyazi ajala katende yanti ndipo anthu ophunzira wandu wotumanso kwambiri ndiye ngati simuphunzira skulu akuyikirani apa mukhala otumidwa